few practical questions for us who practice in the United States. Number one is, you talked about the flexibility on atrium spaces, and I really like the construction part of adaptability of atrium into something else afterwards. How did you address the additional gross floor area increase with that? And the second question would be, I think you showed a lot of the double-stacked three-story atrium spaces. Was there, I'm wondering here in this city, the considerations around smoke evacuation, how is that addressed here?
What was the last bit, sorry?
Usually when you have atrium spaces, typically you have to address the smoke evacuation strategy.
Yep.
And in this case, I think you have a multiple three-story open areas. So I'm wondering if you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure. The number of atria floor, the demountable or deconstructible floors that you actually see in the base build, that sets the area for the building, the maximum floor area ratio. So any floor that's actually removed, that tenant would then negotiate what they actually begin to pay for it. But the area allocation, we're never over the maximum floor area ratio. The standard atria, that's the atria that are stacked throughout the building, are 3 levels, and that with the occupancy numbers, that actually allows us to have 3 open floors. That's with some fire engineering. I think the building regulations here actually allow for that testing versus just following things by the book. So that actually affords us to have those 3 levels open depending on the final occupancy number. But Robert could probably talk to you a little bit more about the fire engineering that needs to happen once we go above 3 levels open.
Yeah, look, Australia does have a bit more flexibility than the States to be performance-based in terms of fire engineering. But Fred answered it really well. We've got the 3 interconnected floors, which act as one compartment. We could still go to more floors being open in normal mode. So say you had a stack of 10 floors open. Any 3 floors is the most that can be open in a fire scenario. So in a fire scenario, we have fire curtains, which drop to still create that three-story compartment, or wall wetting with drenching. And that's all picked up within the fire engineering solution. So we've designed our mechanical services systems to supercharge our stair pressurization, supercharge our smoke control a bit to deal with that larger population and larger egress requirements over 3 floors.
Yeah, I had a question about the sequencing of the construction and the building movements that are going to occur. So when you're snipping off the tower and you're effectively unloading one side of the core, it's going to tend to make the building lean a little bit to the south. And then when you add on the new building, it's going to try to lean back to the north, but that new concrete attached in that concrete core is actually going to do a shrinkage load as well and further pull the thing to the north. And I'm just kind of curious about the sequencing of the construction and like the plumbness of the shafts. You know, a lot of times when we're doing all new construction, you can manage some of these things, but working with existing construction that already has tolerances, I'm just kind of curious how the sequencing and the building leaning was captured in the design.
Again, I won't talk specifically about that, but of course there will be some, let's say, release of load when we reduce a third of the slab. So there will be some leaning, and then the sequencing of the construction will start from, some of it will start from the bottom, some of it will start from the top, and through that actually we manage to, when we're tying into the existing structure, to actually pull that back so that we get, we're plumb again, so everything's vertical, but it has been accounted for. And if BG&E and ADG were up here, they could answer it more specifically, but all that's been accounted for.
Part of my question related to the last one that was just asked, but so I won't touch on that. But maybe it's difficult to choose who to direct this question at, but were there any difficult structural gymnastics required with the differing floor plates up the building? Any complicated transfer structure or anything like that?
Of course, with the cantilevering, we do have, and the cantilevering, again, it's not just for form's sake. It's actually informed design, so the northern facade is shifting to account for various contextual issues. shifts one way on the lower levels, and then of course shifts the other direction when you get above the existing 33 Alfred. But we do have a western, what we're calling the western brace. It's a long diagonal column that actually runs along the western facade. But other than that, actually, of course, the complexities of tying into an existing structure are all there, and there's other people that are better suited to discuss that in more detail. But that's the one structural element that you'll actually see that addresses that shifting facade.